Rena crouched beside the alien warrior, her hands hovering over the intricate plating of the combat armor. The cadet's heart raced, not from fear, but from the weight of responsibility. This wasn't just a suit, it was a lifeline. Every joint, every panel, every glowing circuit was connected to the warrior's neural system. A single misstep could cause malfunction. The warrior, an alien named Thalira, had skin that shimmered faintly under the training facility's artificial lights. Her forearms folded neatly, a graceful calm in her posture. Though Rena knew her muscles were tense. Humans had trained for years to manage alien tech, but nothing compared to the touch-sensitive exosuits of the Varanth species. "Slow down," Thalira's voice echoed softly in Rena's mind link. Humans weren't used to this form of communication yet, but the neural suit allowed direct mental signals. This area, very sensitive. One wrong adjustment, and it could overload my sensory feedback. Rena nodded, careful. The neural gloves she wore allowed her to manipulate the armor without touching Thalira directly. Still, the connection felt intimate. A silent trust forming between human and Varanth. She had trained for this day, for the chance to work alongside an alien warrior, but she had not anticipated the closeness this suit required. "This section locks the limb actuators," Thalira continued, her voice calm but firm. "If you force it, you could hurt the feedback nodes." Rena's fingers danced over the small control panels, feeling the gentle vibrations through her gloves. Each panel had tiny lights that shifted colors depending on pressure. It was like playing a musical instrument, but one wrong note could ruin a warrior's day, or worse. As she worked, Rena remembered the warnings from her instructors back at the academy. Humans had always been considered clumsy when it came to Varanth technology. The suits were designed for precision, not brute force. Most cadets struggled, some even failing to complete the training simulations. But Rena had a careful touch, and a mind trained to anticipate patterns. She trusted herself. "You're doing well," Thalira said, a hint of amusement threading her thought. "I can feel the tension in your mind. Calm it." The suit responds to thought, as much as touch. Rena inhaled slowly, letting her nerves settle. She visualized each joint, each connection, as if mapping an invisible network of circuits in her mind. The gloves responded to her intentions, and slowly, the sensitive section of the armor began to click into place. Suddenly, a warning beep echoed through the training hall. Rena's eyes darted to the holographic display, hovering above the suit. A section of the armor's energy core was fluctuating. Not dangerously, but enough to signal instability. "I see it," Rena said, adjusting her grip. "It's the power relay near your dorsal plates. I'll stabilize it." Thalira shifted slightly. The movement elegant, controlled, but deliberate. "Careful. That area is linked to my balance sensors. Misalignment could throw me off if we move too fast later." Rena nodded, focusing. The gloves hummed softly, lights pulsing as she synchronized with the suit's systems. It was mesmerizing. Every human cadet had dreamed of working with Varanth tech, but few got this close. Most only watched simulations, or practiced on inert suits. Rena was living the dream and feeling the weight of responsibility it carried. As she worked, she realized something remarkable. The suit wasn't just technology. It was an extension of Thalira herself. Every sensitive panel, every responsive joint, every neural feedback node mirrored the alien's instincts. Adjusting the armor wasn't mechanical. It was a dialogue. A conversation of thought and touch. Minutes passed. The warning light blinked once more, then stabilized. Rena exhaled slowly. The armor hummed steadily. All systems online. Thalira shifted fully, standing upright, the suit moving seamlessly with her body. "Excellent," Thalira said, her forearms flexing smoothly. "You have precision. Something I did not expect from a human." Rena smiled, relieved but wary. "I've trained for this. I wanted to make sure you were safe. Thalira tilted her head, a gesture humans might have mistaken for curiosity. Safety is relative, but trust, that is rare. End. A sudden clanging echoed through the facility. A squad of drones burst into the training hall, projected from the far side of the arena. They moved fast, sleek, programmed to test the cadets' reactions. Simulation, Thalira said. The real test begins now. Rena's mind switched instantly. The gloves allowed her to remotely access the suit's defensive protocols, but she knew she couldn't rely on technology alone. Humans had strengths the Varanth did not: adaptability, unpredictability, creativity. The drones advanced, scanning for patterns. Rena noticed a rhythm in their movement, a slight hesitation every time they recalculated trajectory. She tapped the controls, subtly adjusting Thalira's suit to take advantage of those gaps. The first drone lunged. Thalira moved with fluid precision, her limbs weaving through the attack. Rena guided her subtly, nudging the armor's response nodes just enough to gain leverage. The drone stumbled, miscalculating its landing, and tumbled harmlessly across the floor. Impressive, Thalira said, almost in awe. Your timing. Humans have an instinct I underestimated. Rena's heart raced. The next wave of drones approached. This time, she wasn't just adjusting the suit. She was learning from it. Her mind synced with Thalira's movements. Every step, every dodge, every counterattack became a shared rhythm between human and alien. For the first time, Rena felt the truth of what her instructors had hinted at for years. Humans could be more than observers or trainees. In certain situations, with courage and ingenuity, they could become equal partners with the galaxy's most advanced species. The drones faltered, one after another, unable to predict the human-alien synergy. Rena guided the subtle adjustments. Thalira executed the moves with flawless skill. And together, they turned a standard training simulation into a masterful demonstration of cooperation. Finally, the last drone powered down. The hall fell silent, save for the soft hum of the armor's systems. Rena removed her gloves slowly, heart pounding, mind buzzing with exhilaration. Thalira turned to her, the forearms relaxing. I underestimated humans, she said. Your touch, your mind. There is potential. Perhaps more than we imagined. Rena smiled, feeling a surge of pride. I think we make a good team. Thalira's eyes, bright, intelligent, and unreadable, studied her for a long moment. Then, with a graceful motion, she extended one arm. Perhaps this is the start of something new. Rena hesitated, then placed her hand lightly against the alien's armored forearm. A spark of connection ran through her mind, a silent acknowledgement of trust, respect, and cooperation. The training hall's lights dimmed, signaling the end of the session. Yet for Rena, this was only the beginning. She had touched something beyond technology today. She had touched the potential of humanity itself. And for the first time, she felt what it meant to truly stand beside an alien warrior, equal in skill, equal in courage. And as they walked toward the exit, Rena knew one thing for certain. The galaxy was far larger than she had ever imagined. But humans, if they dared to reach out, could carve a place among the stars. The training hall lights flickered off as Rena and Thalira stepped into the simulation zone. The large chamber stretched wider than a football field, walls lined with shifting holographic landscapes. Mountains rose and fell, rivers appeared and vanished, forests emerged in mist, all designed to test cadets and warriors alike. This wasn't a simple exercise anymore. This was a test of creativity, strategy, and courage. Rena adjusted the neural interface on her helmet, feeling the connection with Thalira's armor strengthen. Every subtle movement of the alien warrior's limbs translated into signals in her mind. It was like reading an entirely new language, one she had only begun to understand. Are you ready? Thalira asked. Her voice was calm, but carried the unmistakable tension of anticipation. "I've never been more ready," Rena replied. Her pulse quickened. The simulation zone was unpredictable, and humans rarely succeeded at this level without guidance. But she had learned from the last session the trust between them. The synchronization was their greatest weapon. The holographic landscape shifted suddenly. The floor beneath them became jagged rocks, rising into steep cliffs, while the sky darkened to a stormy gray. Small, hovering drones appeared on the horizon, scanning rapidly. Unlike the last session, these drones moved silently, blending into the terrain. They were not programmed for brute force but for strategy. Their goal was to isolate and outmaneuver them. Rena's mind raced. She studied the patterns, noticing tiny irregularities in the drone's movement. Each one hesitated for a fraction of a second when passing over uneven terrain. "Thalira," she said. "They react slower on jagged ground. We can use that." Thalira's forearms flexed, adjusting the armor's stability modules. "Good. Then we need to coordinate our movements precisely. I will take the higher ground. You guide the lower. And..." Rena nodded, heart beating steadily. "Let's move." They sprinted forward, Thalira's armored legs carrying her across the jagged rocks with astonishing speed. Rena followed, adjusting her neural controls to subtly stabilize the armor's balance. The first wave of drones swooped down, attempting to corner them. Rena thought quickly. "Curve left. Use the cliff wall for cover," she instructed. The gloves transmitted the commands to the suit. Thalira obeyed instinctively, vaulting over a rocky ridge. The drones miscalculated and collided softly with the terrain, harmlessly disabled by their own programming. The simulation continued to evolve. The ground beneath them changed again, now slippery ice, forcing Thalira to shift her center of gravity. Rena had to anticipate every movement, every slide, ensuring the armor responded instantly. One wrong calculation, and Thalira could have fallen. "You're faster than I expected," Thalira remarked, her voice laced with surprise. "Your mind reads patterns like no human I have ever worked with." Rena smiled despite the tension. "We're a team. That's what matters." The terrain shifted once more, creating a dense forest. Thick holographic trees obscured vision, and small robotic creatures emerged, programmed to test combat awareness. Rena adjusted the neural interface, allowing Thalira's sensors to detect the hidden threats more quickly. The creatures moved in unpredictable ways, darting between trees, testing their coordination. Thalira adapted smoothly, her forearms swinging in precise arcs to defend without overexertion. Rena guided subtle shifts in the armor's energy distribution, ensuring balance and speed. Together, they moved like a single organism. A sudden alert flashed on Rena's display. A cluster of drones had surrounded them, exploiting a gap in their path. Rena's mind raced. "We need a distraction. I can override the terrain sensors and create a false pathway." Thalira nodded, trusting the human's instinct. Rena tapped her neural gloves, projecting holographic illusions that resembled them moving in one direction. The drones diverted, giving Thalira the opening to scale a tree-like structure with a leap that would have been impossible for most humans. "Brilliant," Thalira said, landing gracefully on the simulated canopy. "You're thinking, humans have creativity we cannot predict. This is impressive." Rena felt a surge of pride. The simulation was designed to push alien warriors to their limits. Yet here she was, guiding and protecting, proving that human ingenuity could match advanced alien technology. The environment shifted again, this time to a canyon with narrow bridges suspended over a holographic chasm. The final test was clear: traverse without falling while avoiding drone strikes. Rena studied the layout. The bridges were unstable, reacting to weight and movement. "Slow and steady," she instructed Thalira. "Use the bridge's sway to mislead the drones." They will overcompensate. Thalira adjusted her steps, each landing precise, guided by Rena's subtle neural input. The drones, unable to anticipate the movement patterns, collided lightly with the bridge railings. One miscalculation, and the human-alien duo could have fallen, but their synchronization prevented disaster. Halfway across, a sudden holographic gust threatened to destabilize them. Thalira's forearms extended for balance, but it wasn't enough. Rena quickly adjusted the armor's stabilization modules, redistributing energy to counteract the wind. Together, they moved, as if guided by a single mind. They reached the other side safely. The simulation zone paused for a brief moment, then dissolved. The training hall's lights returned, casting a warm glow. Rena and Thalira stood side by side, panting lightly but triumphant. "You did more than guide me," Thalira said. Her voice carried respect, a rare honor among her species. "You anticipated, adapted. You thought, like a warrior, like a true partner." Rena smiled. "I only did what humans do best. We observe, we learn, we improvise." Thalira studied her closely. Improvisation. A skill we admire but seldom see. You may be human, but today you have proven your worth beyond expectation. Rena felt a warmth in her chest. HFY wasn't just a slogan, it was a truth she could feel. Humans might lack the physical speed or instinct of Varanth warriors, but they could think, adapt, and solve problems in ways no algorithm or alien training could predict. "Tomorrow," Thalira said thoughtfully, "we face a real challenge. The simulation is only a preparation. Soon, we will patrol the outer perimeter, where no human has gone. There are anomalies." Rena's pulse quickened. Outer perimeter missions were legendary, dangerous, unpredictable, and unforgiving. Few cadets were chosen. Even fewer returned with stories. And yet, she felt ready. The bond between her and Thalira had grown stronger than she could have imagined. They had learned to trust one another completely. "I'm ready," Rena said firmly. "Whatever comes, we'll handle it together." Thalira's eyes glimmered, an unreadable mix of caution and approval. "Good. Trust will be our greatest weapon." As they left the training hall, Rena glanced back at the simulation zone. She realized that humans, though often underestimated, had potential that even advanced alien species could respect. And with that thought, she felt a deep sense of purpose, an understanding that humanity could carve a place in the stars, not just as observers, but as equals, as partners, as innovators. The facility's corridor was long and silent. Rena's mind raced with anticipation. Tomorrow's mission would be more dangerous, more unpredictable. But now, she knew the truth. She was not alone. She had Thalira, a warrior beyond imagination, and together they were unstoppable. As they prepared for the next day, Rena allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns and challenges. But humans had something no simulation or alien technology could replicate: courage, creativity, and the indomitable spirit to rise above any obstacle. And she was determined to prove it, one mission, one challenge, and one victory at a time. The dawn lights of the training facility flickered over the launch bay as Rena and Thalira prepared for the outer perimeter mission. Beyond the protective shields of the base, the galaxy stretched into the unknown, a vast expanse where uncharted anomalies, rogue satellites, and mysterious signals waited. Humans rarely patrolled this far. Even seasoned Varanth warriors approached it cautiously. Rena adjusted her neural helmet and checked the armor's interface one last time. Every panel, every sensor, every system that had been tested in the simulation was now real. No holographic training, no automated safety nets, this was the real thing. She felt the familiar connection with Thalira, the neural suit linking their minds and movements. Together, They could think, act, and react as one. "Are you ready?" Thalira asked, her voice steady, but her eyes alert. "I'm ready," Rena replied, a steady confidence in her tone. "We've trained for this. Let's see what's out there." The launch bay opened to reveal the outer perimeter, a void of stars, floating debris, and distant planets. They climbed into their hover pod, the craft designed for speed, agility, and emergency maneuvers. Rena sat beside Thalira, feeling the hum of the engines vibrate through the floor. As they launched into space, the expanse seemed endless. The sensors detected minor gravitational anomalies, small energy fluctuations, and faint signals of unknown origin. Most cadets would have panicked. But Rena thrived in uncertainty. Humans had a strange talent for adapting to unpredictability, a skill few alien species could match. Thalira piloted the pod with precision, her neural suit syncing with Rena's inputs. The first anomaly appeared as a shimmering field of light in the distance. It pulsed rhythmically, almost as if alive. "Strange energy patterns," Thalira noted. "No known source. This could be dangerous." Rena leaned forward, analyzing the readings. "It's stable for now. But the pattern changes every few seconds. We need to study it carefully before approaching." The pod hovered near the anomaly. Rena's gloves interfaced with the suit, sending subtle feedback to Thalira. The alien warrior adjusted her posture, moving with elegance despite the weight of the armor. Together, they scanned the anomaly, tracing the energy flows. "Interesting," Rena said, noting the irregularities. "It's not natural. Some intelligent force must be controlling this." Thalira nodded. "We must be cautious. It could be a trap. Or a test." Suddenly, the anomaly pulsed violently. The pod rocked, and systems flickered. Rena instinctively stabilized the armor's energy distribution. She guided Thalira through the turbulence with precise commands, balancing speed and control. "Human intuition," Thalira said, her voice calm but impressed. "I see now why you are trusted on this mission." Rena felt a surge of pride. She had always known humans could adapt, innovate, and overcome. But hearing it from an elite alien warrior reinforced it in ways she hadn't expected. As the anomaly stabilized, they detected movement within it, clusters of small, fast drones, unlike any they had seen before. These drones weren't hostile yet but moved in patterns, suggesting intelligence. "They're studying us," Rena observed. "Not attacking. Yet." Thalira flexed her forearms. "Then we will study them, in return." They approached cautiously, keeping the pod's shields active but minimal to avoid triggering aggression. Rena analyzed the drone's movement, identifying gaps, weaknesses, and repeating patterns. Her mind raced, predicting how they might react to sudden maneuvers. "On my signal," she whispered. "We guide them into a controlled loop." Thalira's neural suit hummed in agreement. Together, they executed the plan. The pod moved as if it had a single mind, shifting precisely, luring the drones into a looping path. The drones followed, unable to break the rhythm. "Humans," Thalira's voice carried awe. "You calculate unpredictability better than any algorithm. I am impressed." Rena smiled but stayed focused. "It's not calculation alone. It's observation, adaptation, and timing. That's what humans do best." The drones finally ceased their movements, hovering in synchronized formation. They were not hostile. They had acknowledged the skill and adaptability of the human-alien team. Thalira studied them closely. "They recognize us as equals, not threats. Remarkable." Rena exhaled, relieved. This was the first success of the outer perimeter mission. The anomaly, while potentially dangerous, had also proven that humans could stand alongside the galaxy's most advanced species, not just as learners, but as innovators and problem solvers. The pod moved forward, following a corridor of floating asteroids and energy fields. Suddenly, a larger anomaly appeared. A swirling vortex of energy, its center glowing with an intense light. Sensors indicated fluctuating gravity, unstable energy, and unknown matter. This was beyond training, beyond simulations. This was real danger. We need to analyze it carefully, Rena said. The gravitational readings are inconsistent. We could be pulled in if we move too fast. Thalira's arms adjusted the armor's thrusters, stabilizing her position. Then we will move slowly, step by step, together. Rena guided Thalira through the vortex's outer field, observing patterns in its energy fluctuations. She noticed faint pulses, almost like signals. These pulses, they're structured. Someone or something is communicating through the energy. Thalira's eyes widened. Intelligence, hidden within the anomaly. We must decipher it. Rena focused, manipulating the neural suit to record the pulses and decode their rhythm. Her human mind worked in tandem with Thalira's instinctive responses. Slowly, they began to understand the sequence repetitions, pauses, and patterns forming a coherent message. It's a warning, Rena said, translating the pulse pattern into thought. We are approaching the boundary. Proceeding further could destabilize the region. Thalira nodded. Then, we respect it. Human judgment. Correct. You read the unknown better than most aliens would. They adjusted course, skirting the vortex's edge. The pod moved carefully, and the anomaly's energy seemed to recede slightly. Acknowledging their caution, Rena realized that humans' ability to observe, reason, and adapt, not raw strength or speed, was the key to surviving unknown challenges. After hours of careful navigation, they reached the far edge of the outer perimeter. Stars stretched endlessly ahead. Debris fields glimmered in the void. But no immediate threats appeared. The mission had been a success. They had survived, analyzed, and learned from anomalies that most species would avoid entirely. Thalira turned to Rena, her forearms folding. You have proven something today. Humans are not weak, not unprepared. Your instincts, your creativity. It is remarkable. Rena smiled. We learn quickly, and we survive. That's how humans thrive, adapting, observing, and thinking. Thalira's eyes seemed to study her, searching for a flaw, but found none. Perhaps the galaxy underestimated humans, she said quietly. But not anymore. Today, you have proven that they can stand among the stars. Rena felt a surge of pride, but also humility. The mission had been dangerous, and countless unknowns still awaited humanity. Yet, in that moment, she understood the power of trust, partnership, and courage. Humans had more to offer the galaxy than anyone had imagined. Next time, Rena said, glancing at the vast expanse, we explore even further. There's so much we can learn, and so much we can do. Thalira nodded. And we will do it together. Humans and Varenth. Side by side. As the hoverpod turned back toward the base, Rena allowed herself a deep breath. The stars stretched endlessly, but she no longer felt small or unprepared. Humanity had a place in the cosmos, not as followers, not as observers, but as partners, innovators, and explorers. And as the launch bay lights came into view, Rena knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, mysteries, and wonders. But humans had something unique. Courage, creativity, and the unyielding drive to rise to any challenge. Together, she and Thalira had proven it. And together, they would continue to do so, one mission at a time.